Welcome back to the DRO BETS channel, and we have made it. MLS is back. The MLS season kicks off in probably just a few hours from now when you're watching this, definitely less than 24 hours. And don't forget to check out my best bets for week one. I have got my MLS Cup futures favorites as well. And then 5 things you need to know when you are betting on MLS to get you ready for the season. And then in this last video, before the season starts, we are going to go over a 4-player prize picks set up for this weekend. I'm going to give you the 4 prize picks squares that I like the most. And then we are also going to do something fun that I want to do every week. We'll kind of see how this develops over time, but I want to do a 5 goal score round robin bet. I think this is going to be a really fun way to tail the games. These are all going to be on MLS 360. So, it's going to be the craziness of the MLS version of Red Zone, MLS 360 on Apple TV. We're going to track 5 goal scores. I think it'll be a fun way for the community to interact together. So I will give you my 4 favorite prize pick squares and my 5 favorite goal scores heading into week one. Let's get into it. All right, so MLS is back, of course, and what that means also is daily fantasy apps like Prize Picks, Underdog. There's plenty of them out there. You're getting those MLS squares starting to pop up, and I had the chance to dive into Prize Picks this time. I do see Underdog added even more of them as well. If I see ones on there that I like, I'm going to look into it maybe tomorrow. Tonight, I only had time to go over Prize Picks. I'll drop them on the DRO BETS _ X channel, so definitely follow me there. I'll drop any squares that I like that kind of stick out to me. But what I wanted to do here is give you my 4 favorite Prize Pick squares. I put them into a 4-person flex play. So if all 4 of them hit, you get 5 times your money. And if 3 of them hit, you get 1.5 times your money. So here are my 4 favorite prize pick squares. And we're going to start off with my favorite one of the weekend, which is going to be Albert Rusnak to have over 2.5 shots assisted. So I love the way that Rusnak fits into this Sounders offense with Jesus Ferreira up front, Pedro de la Vega on one side, Jordan Morris on the other. And we saw in the Champions League game midweek in Guatemala, they were really fluid in their positions. I wouldn't say one of them really held. Obviously, Ferreira was staying up front most of the time, but even he was dropping into midfield. And Rusnak didn't actually start the match, which makes me think he'll almost certainly start on Saturday night against Charlotte. He hit this in 11 out of his last 12 games in 2024. He was really inserted as the playmaker into that Sounders offense. And here's what I love about this, and a huge key. He takes their set pieces and he is assisting so many shots off set pieces. They love to get players like Jackson Reagan, their center backs, up from the back to get headers off of their corners, off of their set pieces. He had 24 shots assisted off dead balls in his last 11 games. So you're very likely to get 2 out of your 3 that you need right there. And then he just needs to get 1 more. So with all those pieces around him, I love Albert Rusnak to get over 2.5 shots assisted. Now, my second pick of this prize picks ticket is going to be Lionel Messi. Maybe you've heard of him. Over 2.5 shots assisted, the exact same play as Albert Rusnak. Now, Messi hit over 2.5 in his last 6 games he started for Inter Miami last year. And obviously, this doesn't quite go into the analytics, but it really feels like Messi steps up in these big games. And I think this is a big game for Inter Miami. It's their first home game. It's the MLS, season debut for them. It's going to be a really marquee matchup on Apple TV. And the other thing you like about this is Messi is not a player that subs off. He didn't sub off in a single game last year. So as long as Messi starts this game, he's probably going to play 90 minutes, even with that game midweek against Sporting Kansas City coming up in CONCACAF Champions Cup. So I really like Messi to go over 2.5. He's got a lot of pieces around him. So yeah, that's going to be the second. My third prize pick square of the weekend, we are going to the CF Montreal match at Atlanta United, and I am going for Samuel Piette over 2 tackles for CF Montreal. Now, he had at least 2 in 7 out of his last 8 games of last season and 9 out of his last 11. So right there, you love the push potential. I feel like there's a much higher chance of him going over 2 than under 2, but there's certainly a chance that it lands on the number. I love this because you have to think Atlanta is really going to be pushing to attack, and we'll get into that later in our goal scores. But I like Piette to be very busy in defensive midfield, where he does, fill that role pretty much by himself on Montreal. You're going to have Miguel Almiron doing his work in the middle, Sabalov, Denice, Bartosz Klisz as well. So there's going to be a lot of people moving up into the attack. And I really think that there's a really good chance that he goes over two here. If this gets to 2.5, I wouldn't play it. I think that I really need that push potential. But the third square is going to be Samuel Piette over two tackles for CF Montreal. And then the last square to round it out is going to be in the Orlando Philadelphia game. And we are going over six combined saves for Andre Blake and Pedro Gallese. Now, this one is all going to be down to how much Orlando attacks and wants to move forward. But Andre Blake is a guy you always want to be backing. He averages 4 saves a game in the second half of last season. I think it's going to be pretty easy for him to get to his number. And if you like that over 3.5, you could play that as well and just isolate it to Andre Blake. But I do think there's a chance that with the new manager, Philadelphia comes out and attacks a little bit more in this game. And I could see both goalies getting the 3 or 4 from Andre Blake and 3 from Gillespie to get us to that 7 number we need. And this also has that push potential. So this is probably my least confident of them. So if you're kind of looking for maybe 3, I would go for those first 3. But I'm going to be playing over 6 saves combined for Andre Blake and Pedro Gillespie. So that is my 4-man prize picks flex play for the week. If all 4 hit, I put $20 on it. I would get 100 back. And if 3 of those hit, I would get $30 back. So feel free to tell that one with me. And, if I missed any squares or you saw something else that you liked, whether it was in prize picks, any of the daily fantasy, please drop it down in the comments. And if you have any questions on any that maybe you like, I'm going to be commenting on them. I'm going to be looking for comments all day on Saturday. So don't hesitate to drop in there, leave a comment. Don't forget to give us the thumbs up as well. And let's get into our 5-player goal scorer round robin for MLS 360. All right. So if you are not familiar with how a round robin works, basically what it does is it parlays every single piece of the bets you make. So for instance, if you were to just do a 5-man parlay on this, all 5 would have to hit and you would have 1 payout. But in a round robin, it makes a parlay with every single leg. So you have 2-leg parlays, 3-leg parlays, 4-leg parlays, and that 5-leg parlay. So if you hit 2 out of the 5, you get some of your money back. You don't quite break even. If you hit 3 out of the 5, typically, depending on the odds, you will get some money back. You'll probably make money. If you hit 4 out of the 5, you're going to make a lot of money. And if you hit all 5 here, I'm actually only putting $1 on each bet here. You would win $448 back based on the odds that I got. So it's a fun way to do this. And it's also a fun way to say, okay, if your reads are correct, but maybe you get unlucky on one of them, if you hit 4 out of 5, you're still doing really, really well. So let's get into the MLS 360 goal scorer round robin. So we're going to start by order of kickoff here. And at 6:30 is when all of the games get going on the East Coast. And we're going to start out with Miguel Almiron in Atlanta. Now, he is making his triumphant return to Atlanta United. I really like Atlanta United to score goals in this game. I think it's going to be a really emotional game, but it's difficult to bet on them. They're minus 185. The over 1.5 is a crazy number. But Miguel Almiron is plus 190 to score. If they get a PK, that guy's taking it. He's going to be taking all their set pieces, and he's going to want a goal really bad in that first home game back for the Five Stripes at the Benz. So we're going to start out with Miguel Almiron. Then we're going to go a little bit north to FC Cincinnati. They are hosting the New York Red Bulls, and I'm going with Kevin Denke. They spent a hell of a lot of money on this guy to be their DP forward. And if you watched midweek against Motagua in CONCACAF Champions Cup, boy, he was everywhere. He had a goal, had, I think, 4 shots, played really, really well. And the fact that they won that game pretty handily, I don't see FC Cincinnati resting players too much. They're going to feel pretty confident that they can maybe even play a rotated squad against Motagua. Denke is plus 135 to score, so I'm going to lock that in as my second play. And then the third play, we are going to go down to Austin, where another new forward, Brandon Vasquez, leading the line for Austin FC. If you watched my best bets video earlier this week, I love Austin FC overall. And Brandon Vasquez is plus 130 to score against the Sporting Kansas City team in between those two Inter Miami CONCACAF Champions Cup games. So give me Brandon Vasquez. And then going up to St. Louis, they are hosting Colorado Rapids. And I'm going to go with Cedric Toysher. I think I pronounced that correctly. Maybe I didn't. Let me know in the comments if I didn't. He is plus 180 to score. He joined St. Louis mid-season last year and scored in 5 out of the 10 games for St. Louis City and 3 out of their 4 home games. I like them to win this match, and coming in at plus 180, I really like that number for him. And then the final pick is going to be out on the West Coast, Christian Arango for the San Jose Earthquakes. Now, I talked about this in my best bets as well. I like the Earthquakes to win, and Arango is playing against his former team, Real Salt Lake, another team that played in CONCACAF Champions Cup midweek down in Central America. Arango is plus 170 to score. So, as I mentioned, I literally just put $1 on each of these. My typical unit is around $20. So, how this comes out is this is 25 bets that you're making. So, putting $1 on each, it comes out to a little bit over a unit for me, which is fine. I didn't really want to put $2 on it and go 2.5 units on this. I kind of want to see how it shakes out, see if it's fun for us, and maybe we can start building these kind of as a community rather than just me doing it. But if all of these hit, we get $448. So let's see how this works out. And then I promised you one more prop that I like this week, and that is going to be Evander to score a goal or an assist. On the book I typically use, this is offered at minus 125. Now, I will tell you, I never like betting goal scoring props at minus money. Like, you just don't want to do it. You want to go plus 150, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit lower. But to score a goal or an assist for Evander, who joined FC Cincinnati, he scored in CONCACAF Champions Cup. He didn't even start. I'm sure he will start this weekend. And minus 125, Evander scored a goal or an assist in 19 out of his first 25 games last season for Portland. We all know things went sideways, and in his last 5 games, he didn't really do much because I think he was pretty disgruntled and wanted to leave. But you're giving me almost even money for something he did in 19 out of 25 games last year. I don't think we're going to see this number very often. I think that he's going to have a great game this week, and this is probably not going to be seen for less than like minus 175 going forward. So I'm going to lock it in. I put a 3/4 of a unit on Evander to have a goal or an assist at minus 125. So that is going to wrap us up. Let's get the MLS Week 1 season started. Let me know in the comments anything else I missed here. What plays you like? What prize picks plays? DFS plays? Goal scorer props? Anything you like, drop it down in the comments. Watch my Week 1 best bets. Watch my 5 things to know about betting on MLS. Watch my MLS Cup futures odds. Give me the thumbs up. Give me the subscribe. And let's enjoy MLS Week 1.